The Vitkining.
Oh, it's straight to YouTube, huh? I didn't know that was even possible.
Straight to YouTube, dude. From Zoom,
Yeah.
straight to YouTube. That's the format.
Does it stream straight to Facebook as well if you wanted to?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
I'm missing out.
So Vitkin,
I guess we should get a Facebook
you know what this
page.
channel's about?
I do not. No, I don't. I don't know.
ISIS indoctrination.
This channel, other than ISIS indoctrination, is creating a vision for a better future in all areas of culture, and then creating a path how to get there, figuring out what the obstacles are, how to get around them, and then disseminating that culture amongst people and making it spread.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's just a small channel, basically. Yeah.
No big vision. So the reason we thought we'd chat to you is because we want to talk to you about becoming successful great again. And we want to talk to you about what your vision is for what it looks like when your concept of like getting people to fucking become successful spreads out far and wide.
Okay. That's good. Yeah, it's a very good topic. That's a very scary image there, Sean. Very scary. You should probably share where you're from and just, appease the audience.
The northern parts of Iran.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Right.
Nah, I'm from a small town in Australia.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
My name is gonna be associated here, but just say whatever you want. It's fine. Just drag everything through the mud.
So, what do you see, Vitkin?
What do I see? I see a naked man in his bathroom, and I see you, Matt. You're sitting in a where
it's kind of like a living room
kind of place. Sorry.
Oh, it's the living room. That's where you are.
I
couldn't figure out where you were.
It's the living room, yeah. I'm not in the bathroom. I've got pants on too.
So, Alex, is your goal to make becoming successful cool?
I'm focused on
the norm.
So for me, becoming a successful means becoming an entrepreneur, because if you're just some guy and you just feel good on the inside, if you just meditate all day and feel good on the inside, and you tell everyone, I feel at ease, and everyone's like, get a job, and you're like, no, I feel at ease, leave me alone, then you can totally feel successful, right? You can say, this is my baseline, I'm successful, this is how I feel, right? That's all great and whatever, if you're 80 years old. But I work with mostly guys and some girls in their 20s, and basically the whole world is on their shoulders, because who the fuck else is going to create new businesses? Who the fuck else is going to become, they have more leverage because they're younger. So if they start early instead of starting when they're 35, they can create much more because they just literally just have more time. And basically that's why I work with them on very high leverage activity. That's creating a business. So business is high leverage. Their youth is high leverage. Just combine all of that and a lot of influence that can be created in a short amount of time. That's how we take guys who are like 20 years old, never had a job before, because, communism or whatever, socialism provides them with school for free, living for free, food for free. So they don't really need to work. And we take those guys and we say, okay, it's time to build a business. They're like, oh, okay, I guess so. And then a year and a half later, some of them are making 15K per month or 40K per month or whatever, depending on the person, obviously. And they're like, holy shit, what I've been doing with my life. They quit. Oftentimes in that situation, they quit their school, they quit their jobs, they kind of unplug, and there's some plateaus that they hit there. They start thinking they're immortal. They start thinking they're so rich, but in reality, they're just experiencing a kind of freedom for the first time, which is quite good. Once they experience that, they can't even believe that they ever went to school, did those boring things, those boring jobs or whatever.
Wait, what do they want? What do they want? What do they want their life to be? And not just from that first point of like vision, but like after you start to talk to them more and they start to really see their lives better, like a few years down the track? How do they describe that looking?
Most of them are quite conservative early on. They say, yeah, I just want to make, just a few $1,000s per month from online business. And they don't say, I want to be a billionaire. Like, I'm going to die or I'm going to be a billionaire. That's not what they say. They just say, yeah, I just want like 5, maybe 10K per month. I want to be anywhere I want and date whoever I want. And, just that, maybe help my family a little bit, that kind of stuff. That's usually, they say some basic stuff and then we make them come up with something that's not just basic on these calls where we don't just let anyone in, we pick and choose who we let in. And we say, okay, fucker, like, I want to know why you really want to do this. Like, why are you going to wake up every fucking morning, get dressed, sit there in a shirt in an office or, in your bedroom if you want, wherever you want to sit. Why are you going to wake up every morning and work on your business? And it's going to be hard. It's going to suck sometimes. And maybe you won't even get a sale.
Yeah.
And it's going to feel like you're wasting your time. Why are you going to do that? Why are you going to learn sales? Why are you going to learn business? It's so much work. And we make them come up with an answer that's not just, I just want to make 5,000 or something like that. We make them come up with an answer. And all of them, like not all of them, but 95% of them do come up with a good answer. And then we make them come up with a better answer and a better answer and a better answer until there's something we know that is strong enough that they can stick to. Because to unplug from all that school and doing what everyone else is doing is extremely hard. Not because the technical part is hard, but just, like you have a job, you get addicted to the paycheck, and buying iPhones and all this shit, and people have debt, right? It's hard to unplug from that mentally.
Okay. So do you reckon, what are the requirements for being able to become successful, in your opinion? Mostly about whether someone can get the right mindset, and when the right mindset is running and their brain's working properly, they'll be able to go there? Or are there limitations on intelligence? Like, what are the requirements to get involved and get going on it?
Intelligence is a requirement for most business models, because people, we had people join and sometimes someone's just not smart enough. It just happens sometimes. That's definitely a requirement.
Okay.
And then the other part of your question was kind of, can you repeat again? So it was.
Well, I guess we could even transcend the question into like, what is the mindset that is required to get going on this?
Oh, what is the mindset that is required? Well, what most people do is they go to high school, and in high school, they tell you, oh, let's try studying a bit of everything, right? Let's do a little bit of this. You'll never really be good at it. You'll never really be good at math, never really be good at, science or drawing or art or anything. You just have a taste of everything, right? And then they graduate and they keep thinking like that. So most people are dabblers and they don't want to go deep in anything. They feel they want to have a lot of choice, right? While the choice ending up being paralyzing, right? So we call dabbling, right? So one of the earliest or first things we test for, or at least teach, is don't be a fucking dabbler. Focus on one thing. And then we teach them what to focus on, right? So for example, if you're not a dabbler, but you just like watercolors, there's only a certain amount of money you could make with that, right? There's a certain amount of success you could achieve with making watercolor paintings, because there's so many people who can do that. It's not a rare skill, right? While other guys, they want to learn something like copywriting or sales. And then we say, okay, that is valuable. That is valuable for business. That is a high in demand skill with a lot of leverage. And if we can just switch their mindset from looking for passion and looking for to be interested in, to master this skill no matter what. Usually it's sales. I'm going to master this skill no matter what. And then what ends up happening, they're like, wait, hold on a second. I actually like this. I'm actually passionate about this. So we break their belief that they need to try out little things until they find something they're passionate. And we get them to focus on one thing that we know is valuable. We've done the homework. We know this is a valuable skill. We just get them to do that. And they thrive. These guys go from little shy little boys in their dormitory somewhere to successful business owners that inspire others, get others to become business owners, and so on.
Sean, you got some questions? You want to take it?
No, I'm just in a bit of a listening kind of state at the moment. I don't want to butt in.
So Alex, something I notice is that most people are just going along like this, and suddenly you come along and you're like, boom!
Yeah.
Right? That happens, right? So, but the status quo is that you're just going along. Like if you didn't come along, or someone like you didn't come along and kind of be like, oh, over here, they just keep going along, right? Do you think it's possible to get it into the culture where the picking up and putting into the different category is so, and like people are saying, oh, let's get into business, let's be entrepreneurial, Do you reckon that kind of reality is possible?
It's possible because the funny thing is there are some countries where you pretty much have to do that to have any kind of success. But if you talk about culture, I mean, if you teach personal responsibility from a young age and you know how value works, and make them go through like self-made wealth by Benjamin Bacon. You imagine they just teach that in when you're 12 years old, everyone has to learn that.
Yeah.
You just have to learn how value works. You have to understand how money works, because that's the exchange of time, of energy, of trust. You know, these are some basic things that everyone needs to know to contribute to society or to become successful themselves, right? So if you allow children or allow people, I'm not an educator, I don't educate children, so maybe I'm not qualified to talk about what children should learn. But in my opinion, if you allow people to learn what is the most valuable thing in society, what creates the most value, what creates the most change and influence, and why that can be valuable, right? If you let successful entrepreneurs or people who have achieved incredible things, like some scientists who've invented some incredible stuff, if you allow those people to kind of teach, even if it's videos, because now you stand in front of a class and it's some teacher, and the teacher's like, yeah, you should pay taxes because the taxes pay for my salary, and you should be happy, and you should be probably, this literally is some stuff that teachers told me in high school. You should probably be happy.
Education system.
If they increase taxes, you should be happy. Like, I would be happy to pay more taxes, right? And you should be happy to pay more taxes. And then what do you kids want to do? You want to get a house. You're going to get a wife or a husband. You want to get a mortgage. You want to get a dog. And you want to have a nice, secure job, right? Everyone's like, yes. Like that. Like, everyone. And I was the weirdo. I'm like, I want to be rich. I want to be rich. It was like, being rich does not make you happy. Yeah, but I want to be rich anyway. And I was in class, not because I'm so smart, but because I just was very stubborn, probably. Right? I was just stubborn. And also, I was reading some books about entrepreneurship. So no one else reads these fucking books. There's self-help and entrepreneurship books. And just that alone was already enough to kind of begin unplugging me. So when you say everyone's kind of walking and you need to plug them out, it's only true if at a younger age, you don't read those books or don't have those influences. And right, a lot of people influences in their family, but it's like really strange. Why don't they have influences outside of their family or outside of school? Why aren't people allowed to have their own influences from, let's say, instead of like music influences, why not have an entrepreneur influence?
Yeah.
And I think it's up to us entrepreneurs to fix that, because school systems are going to fix that, or universities, whatever. They're not going to show it on TV. They're going to show Elon Musk as if he just became successful instantly. It's all going to be lies. But it's going to be an entrepreneur who's successful, and he's really passionate about getting young people into entrepreneurship and having them understand what responsibility means, personal responsibility, having them understand what kind of influence they can make using stuff like, building a business, generating massive amounts of wealth, right? Being rewarded for the stuff you do, and that it's valuable, not automatically successful. If you do the same shit everyone else does, you need to do something unique, interesting, and valuable, right? Like, thoughts like that, they're not being taught. I don't know anyone who's being taught that stuff.
Right.
So if you want to change culture, you want to make that cool somehow. Stuff like be cool, because that's what these kids care about. They'll listen to the school and they'll say, "Oh, lame, math is lame, science, whatever." But if there's someone out there who makes entrepreneurship, who makes being successful cool,
Make it cool.
yeah. That's
being cool. Make it cool, right?
Because the younger the people are who watch this stuff, or the younger people who are into that stuff, the more leverage there is again, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep going in that direction. I'm curious, the people that do like join up with you and work with you and get coached by you, do they have something in common? Are they like, do they have something that's special about them, or are they just, or a lot of them just completely in it, like completely swimming in it, and then you just went, or are they like a little bit above to start off with?
They had like a little push. Maybe they read some books somewhere or something like that. But ultimately, they're not happy about some area in their life. For example, graduated engineering, and like it's a random example for one person, right? Graduate engineering has a $200,000 debt from engineering school, right? And he just knew that this is not what I want to do. I just don't want to do this, right? And he got an engineering job, quit that engineering job, and then he got into waiting tables. He was making a lot of money with waiting tables, actually. But he knew, like, all of this, like engineering, it's like something just missing. I'm not seeing something here, right? And randomly, he happened to see a video online where I said, I know what you're thinking. This is not, something doesn't seem right. Something seems like you're not expressing who you are, and you're not going for the dreams that you should have, right? Like, it just seems like you're just going for small dreams, unimportant stuff, and you want to get out of it, right? It was a motivational video, actually. So you watch that, and that was already enough of a trigger, to get rid of all that built up kind of, you could say, almost frustration of like being stuck in a studying what you don't really want to study, and then having to get that job in what you don't really want to do, and then realizing after 4 or 5 years of everything that you don't actually want to be there anymore. That's a powerful emotion. So but the good thing is, a lot of people have stuff like that happen in their lives. It's just a matter of reaching them at the right time.
Yeah.
You reach them early. If they did this with, again, if they allowed children to be influenced like that, it's a lot easier. But most people reach that point in their adult life. So
when it's already kind of like they're so set in their ways, kind of like,
they're more set in their ways. So it's just, adult behavior change is one of the hardest things ever to do in the world. Okay, it's very, very hard.
We got to talk to Carl about adult behavior change. Maybe we could have Carl and Vitkin talk about adult behavior change, because we got this friend called Carl, and he has really good ideas on adult behavior change, like getting them to learn new skills. Like, he's already discovered that, like, it's one of the hardest things ever.
Yeah.
They just don't do it, and you might learn some stuff there. You might like it. So we're going to come back around to like how to get there, because you mentioned two things, like A, making the education accessible, and B, making it cool. So before we go into that, let's just go into the future. So say you get this like situation where there's like, you've influenced thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs, right? And now there's thousands of entrepreneurs working on solving problems in society and creating value in whole new ways, right? What do you see happening after that to society, given that you've got all these entrepreneurs creating things?
Yeah.
The more entrepreneurs there are, the less bullshit there is, because entrepreneurs are largely grounded in reality, because you're literally allowing to live better lives, and in some cases to even survive. You're giving people jobs, which is one of the most valuable things you can give someone, right? People opportunity to grow, and it's such a valuable and important part of everything that you feel already, just by doing that alone, people feel more accomplished than any job.
Seems like there would be a lot more independence in that future, rather than dependence on like a socialist government or something.
Yeah, so someone who went from completely plugged into the system to unplugged, they'll never go back to being plugged into the system.
Yeah.
Like being plugged out of the matrix. Like, oh no, I'm not going back in the tank. Ugh.
Can I please go back to the matrix?
do you see a future where
right? But they don't even want to stay anymore.
Unplugged out of the system? Do you see that happening?
It's the whole right now. What's going on is all these big corporations, they're kind of hiding the small entrepreneur under their umbrella.
Yeah.
So the micro gig economy and all these economies where people are freelancing and stuff like that, all these changes in the economy, I mean, all this stuff actually helps a lot to create thousands and millions of new entrepreneurs, right?
Okay.
So the funny thing is, I think there's an opportunity, especially in developing countries. That's where I think a massive opportunity is, because they can just start off right. They don't need jobs.
Yeah.
They can just start off right. And honestly, I'll be honest with you, right now, that's exactly what I'm seeing. It's like a lot of immigrants from those countries are a lot more interested in business than locals. Like, just looking at data, you know, don't judge me. I'm just looking at data. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And it's indisputable data. Like, you cannot dispute this data. Like, it's good. It's good data. Let me just say it like that.
So, I mean, even anecdotally, like here in Bulgaria, I just notice people say things to me like, you know, why would I work a job where I earn shit all when I can just run a little business, and even if it's not super successful, I can do way better than a regular job.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, okay, I'm not like, by the way, I'm not connected to anything political at all. So whatever I'm saying is pure data that I'm looking at. Okay, so don't take this political. But what I'm saying is, maybe some interaction between those people who have relatively little and the people who have like the cushy jobs and cushy lives, the same job their parents had. Like everyone in my high school in Belgium, their parents all had jobs. 1/3 of them had jobs with the government. So it was all very cushy, very laid back. You don't really need to achieve much. Just do whereas people from some other places, it's like you need to fucking hustle or you're gonna fucking die, right? So that mindset could maybe be transferred. Like, that's one positive thing out of maybe there's some bad things, there's good things, but that's one positive thing that could maybe be transferred or put back into all these cultures in the West, where you know, especially Europe, places in Europe. Oh my God, I mean, it's a disaster. People don't think they like. Here's literally what happens. Okay, some people I talk to, I'm like, why do you want to start a business? They're like, oh, you know, I don't know about business. I'm kind of getting paid to study. You know, I'm getting 500 euros per month from the government to study. I don't know if I should do all that business stuff. Like, if someone offered,
I'm already getting a tiny little bit, and I'm fine.
Yeah. Like, why would you need more than this? And that thought, demonstrates a deep misunderstanding of how the world works. Like, why would you need more? What do you need?
Where did that come from?
Where it came from?
Why did this mindset, why would I need more than this come from? Was that given to us in this education system?
It's old belief from when there was a lack of food or something like that, and a genuine lack of food. But it's just like being stuck in a mindset from hundreds or maybe even 1,000 years ago, right? So
okay.
Lack of food. There's
centuries old brainwash. Why would you need more than that?
It's a have-not mindset, I reckon. Like, don't be greedy. Like, no one's allowed to be greedy.
And they took that, and it's this old mindset, and they took that, and I guess they're spreading it around to make cycles or something like that. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's from schools and it's being given from parents to their children as well, probably. I don't know. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, honestly, because there's unlimited wealth right now. There's no, like, if you make more money, doesn't mean someone else makes less money. That's just not true anymore. So all these mindsets of isn't enough. No, it's not enough. Like, why are you alive? Like, why are you alive if you don't want to achieve more? Like, the purpose of life is to achieve more. Otherwise, you know, what's the point of all this shit, right?
So I asked you this question before, but you might not have completely understood what I meant. I'll say it again. So say you've got this situation where you've got thousands of entrepreneurs whom you've influenced, right? And they're doing entrepreneurial things in society. What impact do you see that having on industries like technology, health, finance, et cetera, et cetera? What do you see the impact of that?
So if there's more entrepreneurs, there has to be more progress because entrepreneurs have improvement. So first of all, a lot of many more problems will be solved much sooner because people's livelihoods will depend on them, right?
Right.
To make it work, you need to make it work as an entrepreneur. So progress will be incredibly faster than it is now because now it's, if you look anywhere, you go to any business, you call any lawyer, you go to any shop, anywhere you go, you always see shit to improve, right?
Yeah.
There's like, you talk to an employee who's not really invested in the business, they don't really care. There's always like, why are you doing that? Oh, why are you doing that? Oh, this is just, it's just painful to look at. There's all this inefficiency, right?
Yeah. The frustration, annoy Matt.
Sorry?
Matt get annoyed.
Yeah. People get annoyed and they're like, we need to make this better, right? And imagine a whole, like, not a whole society, but a majority of society thinking like that would be, I mean, I can't even imagine how fast progress would happen. We would be sitting just on planet Earth, you know? Like guys like Elon Musk, they're really smart. They just give us incredible dreams of the future. Like we'll be living on multiple planets and shit. Everyone's like, oh, Elon, come on. We don't need
Oh, Elon.
Oh, Elon, with your planet.
Talking about his Mars thing again.
But he's trying to trigger this kind of stuff. He's trying to trigger that people stop spending time on bullshit, 100% responsibility, learn valuable skills, and like instead of sitting around, like, you know, you're in a country where you're at right now, Matt, everyone's just sitting around having a coffee most of the day, right? So instead of doing that, they're gonna actually do stuff that contributes, right? That matters, basically, right?
Do you think that the future is that everyone is contributing in that entrepreneurial manner, or do you think that there always will be that kind of split, you know, as in there's the people doing it and then there's the people that are just sitting around having their coffees? Like what's your dream kind of thing? Is everyone contributing in this manner, or is that impossible?
I don't believe in everyone or no one thinking. So I get this a lot from people who comment on my social media and they say, but Alex, not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Well, my answer to that is, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm not here to have everyone or no one or whatever. I'm just here for you. Okay. So whoever is interested in it, because you can't force people to do any of this shit, obviously. If more people want to do it, I'll be there getting them help and being there for them, basically. But if that's not everyone, it's not everyone. Like, who am I to decide? I'm not there to decide for people. I'm just there to show what's possible and help people out achieve the goal. That's what I'm there for.
Cool.
So
in terms of,
it's probably never going to be everyone, but it's a choice for anyone, anywhere.
Cool. So if we're kind of like aiming towards like, you know, creating a culture where this does happen on a larger scale and stuff like that, so far what I've gathered from you is that the education system is preventing that from happening.
And that's not cool.
People, and it's not cool. Like entrepreneurship isn't cool. And another thing I kind of got from it is that, like, at the moment, at least, entrepreneurship, it's not really safe. So, like, you know, the only people that are doing it kind of have reasonably sized balls. So, like, you need to make it look cool and quite possibly make it safer, make it look safer.
They already made it much safer, honestly. Before you had to get loans and stuff like that. Now you can just bootstrap anything. Well, almost anything. So even with stuff like e-commerce, you can bootstrap it these days. It's crazy. So the big corporations, like, there's things they do bad, things they do well, right? But the thing that they did well was decrease the barrier of entry to entrepreneurship. So have a shop, you don't need to buy inventory. If you want to offer a service, you don't need money for marketing, right? So you can pretty much get started off of skill alone these days and make money with almost no risk. And this is like on top of your job. So people don't realize that. They think they need $1 million. They need to get a loan or something like that. But it's not. It's just not the case.
It's not even true anymore.
Yeah, it's not true.
It's like it's kind of like people just don't actually understand that that is the case. Like people still seem to think it's risky. Like when I talk about with my friends, like, oh, I'm going to like, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, really? Like, you sure? You know, so it seems like people are just like uneducated on the whole thing.
Yeah, it just seems risky, but usually they know it's not actually risky already. It's quite well known that you don't need that much money to start a business anymore. It's just being used as an excuse at this point.
Okay.
And if someone out there still thinks it's risky or something like that, all they have to do is just type into YouTube or something, is it risky to start a business? There's going to be a million guys like me saying like, no, it's not risky, right? So if someone really wants to know, they really want to know, they'll figure it out, right? There's people out there and people are getting better and better at communicating this sort of stuff.
Right.
So it's kind of going down the pyramid. You know, it starts at the top where only before maybe like a few decades ago, only very rich people would say it's not risky, and you know it's.
Okay. So the risk for everybody is decreasing.
It's decreasing. Yeah, it's like everyone can do it kind of thing. Well, that's what like Alex is talking about like, you know, kind of like, you know, poorer countries and stuff like that. It's like they do seem to be doing it more. And like, obviously, if it was highly risky, they wouldn't be. And they are.
I got a question for you, Vitkin. So you mentioned before, or we mentioned before, more people teaching this stuff at a younger age, or rather people being able to learn this at a younger age, right? And it being cool. What else? Like those are two leverage points. What are some other leverage points to make this happen at a large scale?
Okay, can you repeat it? You dropped off there for a second.
Sure. Can you hear me now? All good?
Yeah.
So you mentioned like two of the leverage points are, you know, access to the education on these kind of concepts from an earlier age, 1. 2, it being cool. Are there other leverage points that you see for kicking this off and making it happen on a large scale?
Well, I mean, I have some wishful thinking if you want.
Yeah,
definitely. That's what it's all about.
Let's do wishful thinking.
Put it on the hat.
Yeah, let's put on the I don't have a
put your handkerchief on.
Okay.
Put the handkerchief on your hat. Yeah.
So
wave the handkerchief.
So the handkerchief. Okay, no. But seriously, look, if there was less
get serious, Matt.
Can you just show Sean the handkerchief? I want to show you what a sick handkerchief we just.
Okay, this is a handkerchief. Okay.
Look at it.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Yeah. What is that, cashmere?
Well, no, it's silk actually.
Nice.
I know. So wishful thinking, right?
Wishful thinking.
So less government interference, right? Because now in a lot of countries, it's at the point where it's reaching communism level. So if you want to run a business, you better get some money from the government. You better get some subsidy, some special deal somewhere where you pay less tax because of a certain thing you do, or whatever. You know, one of those things.
Yep.
Get to the point where you need to be in business with the government to some degree. Even for things like technology, I remember. A few years ago, I went to someone, I tried to sell him a website. He's like, well, you're trying to sell me a website. And then this other guy is trying to sell me a website, but he gives a 50% discount because he made a deal with a government where half of his fee gets paid by the government because it got approved as an innovative company. So I'm a startup, I'm alone, okay, running around the street trying to close a sale. And some guy who runs $1 million business went to the local government and made a deal with them where he can charge $10,000 for a website and half of it is paid by the taxpayer. And I'm like, okay,
that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, and it's just like a simple website for $10,000, right? So, and how was I going to compete with that as a beginner? Just, a few years later, I just left that country. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to, this is not how I'm interested in doing business. I'm interested in doing business based on what's here and how hard I work, not on how well I know some weird law somewhere where I can get extra money for free from the government. Like, I don't want my business to depend on my knowledge of weird scammy laws where you scam taxpayers. So all of that shit just needs to go, honestly. Like, I know it's wishful thinking, but the whole thing.
How do you see it going?
Laws and defense, fine. That's what a government is there for.
Mm-hmm.
But anything involving money outside that, or educations or medicine, it's always disaster whenever they get involved. Look, if you look at the data at progress, they're not good at anything, right? They just have to do defense. They have to do, law. They have to handle those two. Because no one really knows a better way than that. But other than that, it's an absolute disaster. Like, anything that's touched by the slimy hand of the bureaucrat is always tainted.
The slimy hand of the bureaucrat.
Slimy hand. That was quite poetic.
Yeah.
Sullied by the slimy hand of the bureaucrat.
Yeah, I used to live. I was very little, but I used to live in communist Russia. I know what it looks like. You don't want it. People think they want it. You don't want it. Trust me. What was the other thing you asked?
How do you make that happen? Like, what are some of your ideas about how we actually get less government interference with business?
For me, it's simple. More entrepreneurs. You cannot have a government and a large amount of entrepreneurs survive. The same
Right. Just more entrepreneurs.
They'll absolutely wreck the system.
Okay, then let's go to the other one. How do you make it cool, and how do you get more education at a younger age?
I'm not focused on education from a younger age. It's maybe I should be. There's all these barriers. You can't just say from now on I educate children or anything like that. You can't say that. It's like illegal. There's laws for everything, right? It's all protected. Yeah, but you can make it cool. You can do entertainment and make it cool and a little bit educational. And
I like making it cool.
Interview every younger entrepreneurs, because there's entrepreneurs who are 60 years old. Right?
Yeah.
If you had say like a YouTube channel or something like that, or social media, where you just focus on super young entrepreneurs like 14 years old, and you just keep doing that over and over and showing how cool their lives are, how much how much they can determine their own lives even though they're very young, and how they go to school, but that's not really what's super interesting for them. What's really interesting in their lives is that they're already passionate about something at a young age, and they can direct all that energy, all that youthfulness, everything can be directed to entrepreneurship and creating stuff, right? And if you just show that and just show that it's fun, and tell stories, do it in the form of very interesting, entertaining stories, right? Where you can grab and keep people's attention. That could be huge. Like, you need to somehow monetize it, of course. It needs to be a business, but it could be huge.
I feel like RSD kind of make entrepreneurship look cool in their own way lately as well.
I guess so, yeah.
Well, that's a takeaway for me, big time. Speak to younger entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
People who are like 32 or some shit.
I've worked with guys who are 17, and it's just, there's none of that resistance, like 35-year-old, yeah, but I have this thing in the bill and blah. No, the 17-year-old person just say, this is how it works. Okay, this is how it works. Done.
Yeah, right.
Done. They're making money. They have a business. And every single time, it happens every single time.
Yeah, that's not okay. Interesting. Sean?
I'm just soaking up, to be honest.
I like where we got there. I like that.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to leave it here. Do you want to add anything, Vitkin? How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, just thankfully my last name quite uncommon. Just type it into Facebook, Vitkin, Aleksander Vitkin. So Alex Vitkin, Vitkin. So just type that in.
So it's facebook.com/Aleksander. If I put it in the description, if I put a link in the description to your Facebook, it's at Aleksander Vitkin. Facebook.com/Aleksander Vitkin.
Yeah, Facebook.com /Aleksander.Vitkin.
Aleksander.Vitkin. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the description for you.
Yeah, it's Aleksander with KS, not with an X. So
don't worry, I got it. I know all about that. Okay, great, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Vitkin. Legend. Thanks, Apes.
Awesome. Great shoulder hair. Have a good one.
Later, bro. See ya.
See you, brother. Bye.
Bye.